GhazzyTV here with another Path of Exile video, and Merry Christmas to each and everyone out there. We are currently live on the 25th of December, just having some fun, some giveaways happening and whatnot. But in this video, I wanted to talk about the 3.13 announcement, expansion teaser, and a few things that I think a lot of people have been missing out, and my personal assessment of what we've seen in the footage. So I think the first thing that we have to bring up is the fact that this is an expansion announcement, and what they usually do is that they add some more endgame mechanics to us. In this case, we're looking at some sort of Atlas variation, it seems like, and this is not the actual league, but rather this is the expansion that we're getting to the game, and then they're adding a league on top of this, which is going to be very interesting to see because it's going to be so much shit to do. And this also brings in the topic that Harvest as well as Heist is going core into 3.13. Now this will spark up a lot of discussions. I will try to keep this video rather short because I'd rather listen to what you guys have to say in the comments below in terms of your opinions and your takes on what's happening in 3.13, but I will go through the video real quick. So as you can see, there seems to be some sort of portal that leads into this room, and in here it seems to be some sort of different versions of what you can do. And this footage here, it seems to be very interesting. I was listening to Tarky, and I think that with his suggestions of what this indicates seems to be pretty fair. This is obviously a bestiary approach. Harvest with the flowers, the upgraded flower. This one's definitely Abyss, Legion, Blight. The question is, this one I do believe Tarky mentioned something about like an upgraded Abyss, but this might as well also be a metamorph. I'm not really sure. But we'll see what this kind of has, what this type of feature in the game will have in terms of impact. For to the game. Sorry about the sound in the background of my AC. So this is interesting. It's very interesting to see what's going to happen. And the only other footage we have is the MTX split arrow in some sort of arena-like room. And then we have the MTX blue cyclone that we saw earlier. See if I can get to that. It was somewhere around here, wasn't it? Anyways, so on the 11th of January, we're going to have watching them live streaming this expansion announcement. So it's going to be really fun to see. 13th of January, we'll have the patch notes. 15th of January, we're going to have the league. However, what I do want to talk about is actually the fact that core mechanics that from the current leagues that are going into 3.13, which is both Harvest as well as Heist, and my personal takes on these things. Since we can't really tell much of what's happening with the 3.13 expansion until we see the live stream on the 11th of January, but I do want to hear you guys' thoughts on it in the comments below, and I want to move this discussion over to the core mechanics that are hitting Path of Exile. So first things first, Harvest. I think a lot of us actually would more than welcome the Harvest mechanic to be in a more balanced state and be introduced. The question is, how would that balanced state be? Are we talking about growth cycles? Are we talking about removing certain crafts? Are we talking about gaining certain crafts? Because we don't want to have any type of Harvest garden, right? So what I'm hoping that they'll do is allow us to do some sort of like basically an Abyss portal or depth that shows up, or you get ported to a different room inside the map, which will be the garden. And in the garden, you'll face certain monsters that will give you a Horde crafting station with certain crafts on. I hope that's the way they do it, and they will allow us to sell these Horde crafting stations basically as an orb, right? So I really think that that's going to be the case. We'll see though, I'm not really sure, but it will be rather interesting to see how they approach this in a balanced state, and I'm pretty sure it's going to take a lot of effort, and they're going to have to tweak this a lot in the first coming weeks. So we're, as usual, going to be playing beta 3.13 for the first 2 weeks before things get finally tuned. Either way, I think that's the best way to do it. But the more important topic, in my opinion, is actually Heist going core. Now, I am one of many people that absolutely hated Heist League. I still do. I think it's a terrible league for a lot of reasons. But I think that with some proper fine-tuning, it can be a very entertaining and enjoyable league. I think the biggest issue outside of Soul Self-Found, we're talking strictly trade leagues because that is where the majority of the player base is. I think that the fact that you could split and dupe the blueprints through either the fossils or the splitting with the beasts, I think that is a problem, because what it does is it diminishes the value of anything that is not God tier level, unless you're playing Soul Self-Found, of course. So I think that in that sense, I would much rather see the possibility of them removing the fact that you can copy or split your beasts, so people will actually run these blueprints that they get, or the ones that are really terrible that they would vendor trash them into something that they'd actually want to run. I think that is generally a better approach to it. I definitely think that they need to equalize the or normalize the door opening times, fine-tune some of the rewards. But other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with... honestly, I'm very happy if they just remove the blueprint splitting and copying, because with that removed, that means that we won't have a market where everything else that you can do in a game is diminished in comparison to Heist, because Heist is running with a decent trinket and running these blueprint split. That's how you get tons of Exalteds, and suddenly, well, Profit Crafting was still decent, but running any other content just completely was diminished. There was no reason to it. It was a waste of time to do anything but that, and that part I didn't like. I liked the Path of Exile for the fact that you can do so many different things, and I'm not going to talk about Dell being the best profit maker in the game, because it kind of is, but it also requires a shit ton of investment and skills to handle those depths to do so. So it's kind of a side topic, because it's so gated behind so many layers of things you have to go through. Progression, leveling character to a certain level, zero HP build, can't do anything but that. You know, all of these things. But I think that with Heist League, it just opened up for everyone to just farm Exalted Orbs all over, which is great for the community, to some would say, but I think that with that in mind, it diminishes everything else you can do. So killing an in-game boss, dropping a juicy in-game item, just suddenly becomes useless, because you could just do the Heist and buy it from someone else who did that instead. Anyways, that's my take on the current things that are happening with 3.13 and what we know so far. I do want to make a small mention that I will be making a lot of guides, a lot of build guides, a lot of crafting guides, especially with the Harvest Growing Core. So make sure you stay tuned for that. And for those of you who missed it, I've moved my guides over to IcyVein's website, PoE-vault.com, to increase the quality of my build guides. You can see them in the link in the descriptions below, and there will be tons of guides on that link. So make sure you check that out if you're interested in watching my build guides in the future. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Make sure you hit the comments below to let me know what you guys think about the 3.13, the core mechanics of Harvest as well as Heist. I would love to hear you guys say that. Type up your opinions, and yeah, hit the like button, subscribe for more content. Until next time, stay safe and keep rocking.